Alright, time to see how we did.
Oh man, here we go. At the start of this campaign, we saw a problem within our own high school. Yearbook sales have been decreasing significantly in previous years. The lack of marketing has caused these yearbook sales to be so low, until we showed up.
We put a new enthusiasm into the minds of many, performing any actions necessary to provide the student body of THS with the yearbook they deserve. But the question still remains, how did it all begin?
We first started our campaign by examining trends of the years past. By examining the total yearbook sales in the previous years, we figured out ever since 2004, the total amount of yearbook sales have been almost constantly declining as the years passed, which is drastically different from the trends apparent in the years of 1999 to 2004.
But even though this data was useful in identifying the problem, we still needed specific data for the yearbook sales that had been made prior to the 16th of December. The data we were able to receive is as follows. In 2015, the freshman class ordered 68 yearbooks total, with 19 being purchased before December 18th. The sophomores in 2015 bought 61 yearbooks, 17 of which were purchased before the same date. In the following year, 74 yearbooks were purchased by freshmen and 59 were purchased by sophomores, with 21 freshmen and 22 sophomores purchasing before December 18th.
Along with this data, we also discovered that roughly 85% of freshmen who bought a yearbook during their freshman year purchased a yearbook again their sophomore year, which assisted us in being able to identify who we should market towards during our campaign.
After examining the data from last year, what was the problem? Why were previous yearbook sales so far below average? And why were people not taking advantage of the discount?
One of the factors we discovered as a possibility could be the slight decline in the average income of families located within Talmadge. This means that most of the families in Talmadge may not be able to afford a yearbook that costs $75 or more.
In addition, many freshmen don't know what makes our yearbook so great. Their parents don't know how to buy a yearbook, along with being unaware of the early bird special. And a majority of the students at our high school don't know why they should buy a yearbook. In order to combat this statement, one of the ways we advertised to specific groups of people was by explaining why students in each grade should buy a yearbook.
That's right. We also specifically targeted the freshman class, due to the aforementioned statistic suggesting a favorable chance of freshman consumers buying a yearbook again during their sophomore year. Specifically, we stopped into every freshman academy at our high school, proceeded to show them our yearbook advertisement video, which will be shown later in this video, and then proceeded to hand out a survey to 100 freshmen, specifically 50 males and 50 females.
Our survey consisted of a small handful of questions, such as asking the freshmen about their chance of buying a yearbook if they appear in it more frequently, about whether or not there should be an easier way to purchase a yearbook, and even a small section at the bottom for anything else they would like to write that hadn't been mentioned in the survey. The information we received from the survey helped us immensely in regards to how we ended up marketing towards the freshman class.
We also conducted a series of interviews with both students and teachers at our high school. These interviews not only helped us figure out that many students didn't know things like the early bird special or how to actually buy a yearbook, but by interviewing teachers, we were able to figure out the overall reputation of the yearbook here at Talmadge High School.
After completing numerous tasks to help us identify exactly who we were marketing to, we began to get down to business with our marketing through the use of multimedia platforms.
To begin, we created a Twitter account for the THS yearbook, beginning by uploading short, simple videos to introduce the Twitter account and asking many fellow students for retweets to help the account grow in popularity. Also, because of the fact that many students suggested they wanted to be included in the yearbook more often, we created the hashtag BeBoldStayGold2K17 and allowed students to take pictures with the hashtag to be included in a special section of the yearbook upon release.
Now, after creating both the videos and the photo opportunity, we began the production of our first full-blown video advertisement, whose primary purpose was to represent the fact that yearbooks were currently on sale. As the answers to the second question on our survey suggested, that a majority of students didn't know that you could pre-order a yearbook at a discounted price. This was also the video that we showed to the freshman academies and that we visited as a prerequisite for taking the survey. We also made sure to wear normal student apparel during our advertisements, as we wanted to make sure they were representative of the common student, rather than making students feel inferior due to any fancy type of apparel.
After releasing this video, we continued to post other small videos on Twitter, including endorsements from the class presidents, further information on the discounted price offered for pre-ordering a yearbook, and a couple of others. But following these short videos came the most well-received advertisement we made throughout our campaign, the Buy a Yearbook montage. This video consisted of over 20 teachers and staff members at the high school all saying the phrase, "Buy a yearbook," along with a few teachers putting a funny twist onto their clip. Not only was this the most well-received video in the campaign, but we ended up selling the most yearbooks in a single day shortly after this video's release, with 13 being sold in just one day.
Also, as a bit of a side activity, Philip and I decided to make a QR code by shading in the squares of an expo board containing a coordinate grid. This code took roughly 2 hours to finally complete, and the code ended up actually functioning in the end, taking the student who scans it directly to the Buy a Yearbook montage video. Because of the fact that it was hand-drawn and it didn't tell you where it took you, students would feel much more inclined to scan the QR code, compared to if we had just printed it out and hung it in the hallways.
Now, at this point, we took a pause on creating video advertisements and instead created a series of banners to hang around the school to advertise the yearbook even more. By creating big banners rather than printed black and white flyers, we were able to grab the attention of students walking down the hallways much more effectively, as well as receiving immense amounts of positive feedback on the poster's aesthetics.
Now, although these banners and videos helped raise awareness of pre-ordering, we were still missing a key component of the advertising, actually explaining to the students the process to purchasing a yearbook. To accomplish this task, we created a final How to Buy a Yearbook video, explaining the 4 different ways students could buy a yearbook, allowing them to choose whatever option they thought was the easiest way.
At this point in our efforts to increase sales of the THS yearbook, we had done all of the advertising work that we could have possibly done towards the student body of Talmadge High School. However, we felt that the parents of each student should also be able to stay updated with the yearbook purchasing process. To tackle this problem, we were able to send out a robocall to every parent of a THS student, which explained the same information stated in our first large-scale video advertisement. This assisted us immensely in making the guardians of these THS students more aware of the opportunity being presented.
As our project deadline was coming to a close, we spent most of our time personally calling the numbers of THS students who had bought a yearbook last year, but still hadn't purchased one in the current year. We made sure not to use a robocall for this part, as it would most likely result in a much higher number of parents just hanging up the phone before even hearing the message. In total, we ended up calling over 300 people, along with sending out personal emails to these same people. And, in the end, this proved to be very successful. Many of the people we called would say that they wanted to buy a yearbook, but were having trouble figuring out how to physically make the purchase. By simply guiding them to the yearbook order center website with our school code, we were able to dramatically increase yearbook sales within a matter of just a couple of hours.
Now, after taking all of these steps, after examining every little detail of our campaign, there is only one question that remains. How did we do? Well, it turns out, as of December 16th, we have made a 54% increase from last year's sales at this time, with 170 yearbook sales on the nose, giving promise to an increase in this year's total sales, which, if the pattern continues, could be somewhere just around 500 yearbooks.
I'm Philip Glasser,
And I'm Zach Davis.
And I am Vaughn Richards.
and I want you to ask yourself,
Did we make a difference?